matches up until the
they're
very
turning
end
it down here?
of World Championship
They
qualifying.
told us they were going to turn it down here.
Today, we're going to play 2 last rounds of Swiss. We'll cut to a top 64, and then the top 6 players will earn an invite to the World Championship in Rimini, Italy. Alright, and it looks like we are underway. Royce Towsend starts off with a set monster and 2 speller trap cards. And that's all. Jeff Jones, playing Koa'ki Meiru today, is probably looking for a big combo with Koa'ki Meiru Urnite to begin with. He's also playing Fire Fist cards as well. He's starting off with the Diamond Core of Koa'ki Meiru.
Very good sign for Jones, who has a slightly over 40% chance of opening with that Koa'ki Meiru Urnite combo opening. He's playing 2 copies of Iron Core, 3 copies of Diamond Core, and then Fire Formation Tenki for the triple Urnites. So,
alright, he's picked up the Iron Core with Diamond Core, and he does have the Urnite.
Does have the Urnite.
And one of the best parts about the Diamond Core is that you can banish it from the graveyard to keep your Koa'ki Meiru monsters safe for the entire turn. So even if his opponent were to have a destructive card like a Bottomless Trap Hole or a Torrential Tribute, well, it's not going to help against Fiendish Chain. Fiendish Chain is going to lock down the effect of the Urnite for the rest of the turn. Okay. For the foreseeable future, really.
Jones does play double Forbidden Lance. Doesn't look like he's lucky enough to have it in this situation, or maybe reserving it.
No Mystical Space Typhoons, though.
And he does have the Lance. There we go.
Alright, Forbidden Lance. It makes the Urnite unaffected by spells and traps for the rest of the turn, but it loses 800 attack points. Urnite's effect, by revealing the Iron Core that he just picked up off Diamond Core, he can special summon a level 4 Koa'ki from his deck, and he's taken Koa'ki Meiru Crusader, another Beast Warrior. 1900 attack points. But he's not going to put any of those points to use. He is opting instead to Xyz summon.
Hey, Cam.
2 Beast Warriors. You could get a Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger King to search out Tenki. But instead he's going to go with Evil Swarm Exciton Knight. The Exciton Knight counts the number of cards that your opponent and yourself control, and if they have more than you, you can wipe the field during your main phase or your opponent's battle phase. But things did not go quite as planned. Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare negates the effect of a monster special summoned and destroys it. Has taken out the Exciton Knight, but Jones had the follow-up Soul Charge to bring his monsters back. For 1,000 life points apiece, you can do basically whatever you want with Soul Charge, getting your guys back. And he's brought back both the Urnite and Crusader.
Which is huge, because as you can see, he gets to plunk down another Crusader with that Urnite effect yet again. Soul Charge a 1-off in Jeff Jones's deck list.
It's always nice to have, though.
Huge opening.
It's just Monster Reborn was always a 1-off, but you always wanted to see it. We've got another Xyz summon. This time, 2 Crusaders are combined to form Diamond Direwolf, which he can detach to target a Beast Warrior he controls, and any card his opponent controls, and destroy both. Which he has done, but he banished the Diamond Core of Koa'ki Meiru to keep his guys, well, keep his Koa'ki Meiru around, and that
limits Townsend's choice to having to hit the Diamond Wolf.
Yep. The destroyed card was Firehand, one of the really defining cards of this entire format. When it is destroyed by your opponent while in your possession, you get to destroy one of their monsters and then special summon Ice Hand from your deck. And Ice Hand is the same, but it destroys a spell or trap and brings out Firehand. We still got a battle phase to come, though. Or rather, we don't, because of Soul Charge. So that Ice Hand's going to stick around for now. Alright, 1 set spell or trap, and that ends it for the turn. Jones doesn't really need to reveal anything to keep his Urnite around, because it's still invincible for that whole turn thanks to Diamond Core. Really a great card to have.
defensive gambit here from Jones that certainly looks very confident. Setting a back row, effectively giving a target for Ice Hand, communicating that he feels he can keep his Urnite on the field.
Well, he's going to keep it on the field this turn, most likely, because Pot of Duality has picked up 3 trap cards, nothing of immediate use.
Yeah.
Artifact Sanctum, though, is going to be a problem just as soon as it gets into Jones's next turn, as it can special summon the extremely powerful Artifact Moraltalk straight from the deck, and when it does, Towsend will get a 2100 attacker, level 5 monster, that's also going to destroy any card that's face up on Jones's side of the field.
Towsend playing a stripped down Artifact Engine with only 2 copies of Artifact Moraltalk, but this early in the game, there's very little chance that he would have drawn both of them. It's definitely a live threat.
And Towsend passes on the ability to attack with Ice Hand and potentially clear out Jones's field, which is smart because Jeff Jones does run 2-dimensional Prison. Instead, he's taking the safe bet and immediately flipping the Artifact Sanctum.
Yeah. He wants to Moraltalk that Urnite before Jeff gets to main phase 1 to use its effect.
And he's gonna, but
And
Book of Moon will save the Urnite, since Moraltalk, while it does not target, can only hit
Beautiful.
face-up cards. Towsend is briefly confirming that, in fact, Moraltalk does not target, and is not going to destroy that Urnite. Probably not happy with how this turn has started off.
Jeff now free of back row again and free to attack that Ice Hand.
First off, though, he's going to show Towsend the core and go searching off for another Koa'ki. I think we might see Koa'ki Meiru Ice show up here. 2 special summon monsters on Townsend's side of the field.
It seems very possible.
It's a tough decision, though, because you could also get the 3rd Crusader and then pick up a Koa'ki Meiru card from your graveyard by running over the Ice Hand.
Yeah, this might be a good opportunity to just grab a couple of free cards.
And he's decided to go with the Crusader. His opponent, in terms of traps that could stop him from attacking, is basically nil. He's got Fiendish Chain, but the rest of his traps are Summon Reactant or Artifact Sanctum. Alright, the Crusader's in play.
Looks like Towsend has no response.
But instead of going for the attack, he's going to make another Xyz summon, this time for Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger King. Now, he has not normal summoned this turn. Oh, Traptrix Trap-Hole Nightmare shuts down the Tiger King before it could search out a fire formation
Still
from the
has
deck.
a normal
But
summon and
he's
another
got
Urnite.
another Urnite.
Wow.
Now, he's out of Crusaders, but he still has the option to go get Ice. In fact, I think that's the only option he has left.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is, Koa'ki Meiru Ice. Its maintenance is to reveal a continuous spell from your hand, and you can also not discard, but send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to destroy a special summon monster, of which Towsend has 2. The likely target here is Moraltalk, since neither monster can attack over it. Now, Ice is an Aqua monster, so another Tiger King is not a possibility here.
Jeff running a little low on in-hand cards, too.
And it's even tougher because he'd have to give up one of them to destroy Moraltalk.
Use the effect. Yeah.
On the plus side, though, Jeff has been getting a lot of free cards out of his Urnites, whereas Towsend, the only real source of them he's had are the Fire Hand and Sanctum.
What is Townsend's hand count right now?
You know, I can't see it at the moment.
Yeah. Looks like Jeff's on 2. One of which is, of course, the Iron Core.
Yep. Now, the tricky thing here is that whatever he gets rid of, he won't have in the end phase, and he doesn't have a Diamond Core right now to keep his monsters alive and well. Doing some quick math, it seems.
Tapping out his options on the playmat.
He's going with another Xyz summon. There are a number of possibilities here. Silent Honor Arc, pretty good one.
Defensive
detaching,
effect will certainly keep him on the field.
Yep. He can detach both materials to absorb the attack position Moraltok as an Xyz material. Then, following up with an attack on Ice Hand. Ice Hand can't trigger because he had no spell and traps at the time. And then by keeping that Moraltok attached, the defensive ability of Arc is in play, and the next time it would be destroyed, he can detach that Moraltok instead.
It's a very good stabilizing play. It's just going to keep him on the table while he figures things out.
Alright, and Towsend is now diving into his extra deck. See what sort of play he could possibly have there. He's got... Well, he's running a variant of the Hand and Artifact deck that runs hands, artifacts, and Fire Fist monsters, and Traptrix. So it's possible that he could be working on a play with Coach Soldier Wolfbark. I'm not certain how we'd get the monster into the graveyard for it.
Yeah, there's nothing loaded for Wolfbark's recursion effect. He
Yeah.
doesn't play Traptrix Dionera.
I'm not seeing where he's getting...
A possible Ixie summon here.
Yeah, I don't know where the second monster's coming from. He's got Mind Control, but that's not going to help unless he's got a secret rank-up magic card that I'm not seeing.
He would have to have Soul Charge. And he doesn't, so he sets a monster.
Setting a monster there could be the last hand. He's got two of each hand. We've seen Fire, Ice. Could be another hand. I don't think I would set a Traptrix.
Certainly wouldn't set the Traptrix Murmelio now. It would be that, or a Sad Bear.
Hate it when I have sad bears. But that is the risk you run when you only run 3 fire formations, and
You run a certain
3
risk
bears.
of bad news bears, if
Yep.
you will.
And
It is a bad
the
news
sad
bear.
Oh, man.
Now the question is, does he have that Wolfbark in hand? Was that why he set that up? And for that, Jeff sets another back row card.
Just in case. Well, there are plenty of ways that Jeff could possibly ruin a Wolfbark play. And
There
he
is
has
the Wolfbark,
play.
yeah.
You know, there's Solemn Warning, Torrential
that
Tribute, which
triple
will keep this guy
Fiendish Chain.
around, Triple Fiendish Chain, Black Horn of Heaven. A lot of things could go wrong right now, but Towsend doesn't really have any choice.
Maxi, Jeff would like to see some more cards.
And I think Townsend's not really having much of a choice other than to give him the cards.
Yeah.
He could go into a Cardinal right now, Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Cardinal. That'd be pretty good. With the ability to shuffle back his Wolfbark and Bear.
And work around that arc.
Nope. Although... Get the text of Cardinal. Cardinal's a bit peculiar. It's one of those detach and then do stuff. The problem is he doesn't have any Fire Fist or Fire Formation cards in his graveyard. So while it might be tempting to try to go for the Cardinal, he can't even activate its effect because he doesn't already have a target. Instead he's going to go for the Tiger King, which upon its Xyz summon will let him get a Fire Formation. And it's also useful here because its ability can negate the protection effect of Silent Honor Arc as it's not a Beast Warrior.
Jeff, so will that Maxi effect?
He'll be getting his second draw from it, assuming he allows the Xyz summon to happen,
On the chain.
which he does.
Does not want him having any options,
And-
and he gets the draw.
Gets the draw, doesn't have to deal with negation or a Fire Formation, but he is still going to have to deal with the 2,200 points of that Tiger King, 100 more than Arc. No follow-up from Townsend, just a face-down card, and plays back to Jones. Jones diving into the tank again. That's a Fire Formation Tanky, Ultimate Rare version, blinding, beautiful card. And he's going to use that to get a Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Bear of his own. And that is another sort of bad news bear for Townsend. Summons it successfully, activates the effect, and Tiger King is destroyed.
Jones now with a very secure position on the field.
Direct attack is next, and it is successful.
Gonna get another tanky.
which means that he gets another fire formation from his deck. He's got a copy of Fire Formation Tensu, but it doesn't seem a likely choice right now. Arc connects as well, and suddenly it's 6,000 to 2,200 with Jones in the lead.
Townsend is in trouble and has expended a lot of his defensive monsters.
And yet another back row Speller Trap card makes it even less likely that he's going to be able to get back into this one.
I would love to know how many of those back row cards are actually live right now on Jones' side of the field.
Well, we know one's a fire formation, so you can take that out of the equation. And it looks like Townsend's going to go to town and see how many of them he can break through. Or not. He's got the Mind Control. Fantastic card to have right now. Because Jeff Jones now has a level 4 monster that he can steal and Xyz summon with. Question is he going to do it right now, or is he going to try to knock out another back row card by attacking with the Ice Hand first? In fact, he might even be able to clear the protection off of Arc, but he doesn't really have the life points to do the entire Fire and Ice Hand cycling play, nor does he have the hands left.
Townsend, of course, also likely not aware that Jeff Jones is maining 2 copies of Dimensional Prison. If there's any aggression here, Jones might have the perfect answer.
He avoided it early on, so perhaps he sniffed out the prisons. And he's not going to chance the attack, instead going with an Xyz summon.
And make his own Arc?
Own Arc seems like the good play here.
Yeah,
and there it is. The question is it going to make it to the field? It does.
Does he have the tap?
But Bottomless Trap Hole is actually a pretty good thing to have right there. You have to detach 2 materials from Arc to activate its ability, and by forcing Arc to use its protection ability instead, by detaching 1 material, it's now a stalemate.
Townsend no longer capable of using Honor Arc's activated effect.
And he's going to go ahead and check the graveyard, looking for traps. Seeing if he can get any sort of a bead on what that last card is. You kind of get the feeling that it is a prison, and if he attacks here, it's going to be a total blowout.
It would certainly validate Jeff Jones' choice to main deck 2 prisons.
Taking a good long think about this one, and he opts not to, which is probably the right play here.
That is the right play.
Of course, it may all be for naught if that other face-down card isn't something to stop the bear.
Yeah, that might have been a lose-lose proposition.
Well, if you get to see another turn, then you're probably doing all right. All right, bear is summoned. Its effect is activated. Arc saves itself by detaching the pilfered bear, but now he's in a position where Jones's Silent Honor Arc can crash with Townsend's, destroying it but leaving his own intact, which is exactly what happens. The bear strikes next, and Townsend will be down to 600 life points, and Jones has 1 last fire formation left to ensure that simply passing on a monster isn't going to work. Of course, Jones also has an Iron Core to get the last Urnite out of his deck, which he then summons with the extra normal summon from Tensu. Xyz summons Gaga Cowboy, activates the effect in defense position to deal 800 for game. Townsend had a response, but it didn't matter because the last card on Jones' side of the field was Wiretap. Wiretap, another huge, huge card for this entire format. Counter Trap negates a trap card, shuffles it back into the deck. So things like Artifact Sanctum that have extra effects if they get destroyed, that would otherwise trigger if you use 7 Tools of the Bandit or Mystical Space Typhoon, not useful there. So crucial.
Lightsworn and Sylvans both exceedingly successful in day 1. Was definitely a question of how highly played those decks would be in day 1 competition yesterday, and the answer that we quickly arrived at was a lot. which means 7 tools and wiretap, not as powerful as they have been in previous events. Definitely saw very little 7 tools as a result, but triple wiretap, still as good as ever.
As for side decking, well, let's take a look. For Jones's side, he could lock down light special summons with Koa'ki Meiru Drago, or all special summons with Fossil Dynapachycephalo. He's also got no Luna Crossout in case Townsend decides to take a more defensive approach. I don't really think we'll see it. Full House could be useful here, because both players are using face-up spells and traps, so if there are too many set cards, it could easily turn into a blowout from Full House.
Townsend's decisions here are seemingly limited by his matchup list of cards that are simply not particularly relevant against Jeff Jones's deck. A Deep Dark Trap Hole, Debunk, Acid Trap Hole. Might bring in his Forbidden Chalices. Just anything to keep the Urnite madness from happening.
You know, do you think he might have a go at the Necro Valleys to stop Diamond Core from being banished and protecting the Koa'kis?
I think he might, but I don't think it's necessarily the right play here.
This is a matchup that you can't... I don't really think he's prepared for, or really anybody's prepared for, and that's why Jeff Jones brought it, most likely. So there's not a whole lot of side deck cards out there to help.
He's certainly going to bring in his 2 Maxis. Might bring in the Forbidden Chalices.
You know, you're down a game. You got to try everything you can possibly try. At this point, both competitors are 7-2, and to make top 64, you're going to need to win both of these matches.
These matches are crucial. Jeff Jones, certainly no stranger to the top tables. Repeated multi-time WCQ, top cut competitor. Repeated YCS winner. All Townsend right. Certainly would make a name for himself here if he could win live on camera against Jeff Jones.
Knock him out of the tournament. All right, looks like they've made their side decking decisions. Nice and crisp, clean, quickly. Looks like they knew exactly what they were going to do. I'm sure that Jeff Jones has probably faced this matchup before this weekend.
He came here with this well tested.
Townsend, on the other hand, playing from behind in the information war.
Though to be fair, Jeff Jones' deck was in a feature match yesterday. If Townsend kept himself aware of that and used that to scout Jones, he might know a bit about what he's up against.
If he has the capability of doing so.
Yes.
All right, Townsend's going to start us off this time. Takes a quick peek at a 6th card, which he wouldn't get next week. And he's going to start off with 4 face-down Speller Traps. No monsters. You got to assume at this point that one of them's a Sanctum, or he's got a pretty awful hand.
Sanctum probably really the main thing he's looking for in his opening turns right now.
Yep. Sanctum's no Moraltox. He doesn't have any extra artifacts in his side deck, so if he picked up something like double Moraltox in his opening hand here, that would just be brutal. Jones isn't willing to run into an artifact Sanctum right now, probably looking for a chance to get a wiretap set first.
Important to note, too, that Townsend actually does not play any main deck trap negation and no side deck trap negation. So whatever Jeff Jones tries to do with his back row, it's going to work.
He's got to play it honestly. 5 set spell and trap cards for Townsend. That means he can't even activate a Pot of Duality if he comes up with that. So filling up those zones, kind of a dangerous move.
Not sure he wants to play the long game against Jones in this match, giving him time to draw into those Urnite combos. Was that a Diamond Core?
Looks like a Diamond Core.
Yeah.
To get an Iron Core.
And with effectively 8 more copies of Urnite in his deck, I bet Jones has that Urnite locked and loaded. Does he have the wiretap to force it through is the real question.
I would not be shocked. 4 face-down cards. You got to figure one of them is probably a Summon Disruptor. One of them is probably something to block traps. That's generally what I think of when I see 4 face-down cards. Like if you're playing against Geargia, you got to figure, okay, one of these going to block my summon, one of these going to block my trap.
Jones only maining 2 wiretap, though, so the odds are still a little slim. Let's see if we can get the numbers on that.
All right, Urnite from Jones is met with solemn warning, and he does not have the wiretap. 2,000 points for Townsend. But the trap goes through, and Urnite is down. The first Urnite is down. Following that, Jones goes ahead and banishes his core, his diamond core. Townsend follows up with nothing but another set card, and Jones has the second Urnite. There's every chance he didn't want to have to use his wiretap there because he just had the second Urnite waiting. He's going to go ahead and show the iron core. And I believe I saw a brief glimpse of a dimensional fissure in his hand. Fiendish Chain is used to try to negate it, but once again, Jones has the Book of Moon. And that is going to force Urnite's effect through, barring any further. Alright, Chain resolves, Urnite's face down, Fiendish Chain.
I think Jeff definitely has the impression at this point that he has more effects that are going to just generate free cards for him so he can make those one-for-one trades like Book against Fiendish Chain.
Yep.
As long as he keeps those effects going.
On the summon, though, Torrential Tribute wipes everything out.
Again, no wiretap. He definitely does not have it.
Yep. Definitely would have used it by now. Unless he's just got the complete total string of monsters in his hand and he's just waiting for the Sanctum, but I don't think that's the case here.
Townsend has certainly had a lot of time to draw into that Sanctum, and if he hasn't now, this might be his opportunity.
Or, monsters. That'd be another thing to have.
He definitely wants monsters. He definitely needs to be applying pressure now that he's up against an open field.
You got rid of 2 Urnites at this point.
Yeah.
You got to be feeling good about yourself, but you have to take advantage. And
Still
he doesn't.
Nothing.
Another Speller Trap. And it looks like Jones has run out of monsters for the time being. And now Townsend decides, I gotta go for it.
Apparently not going to wait around to try and take out that third Urnite.
Well, turns out that was the card that he had just set. So perhaps he hadn't had the Sanctum the entire time. Raltek's going to fall into a bottomless trap hole, though. But that's one less trap for, say, Firehand. Quick check with the graveyards.
Or, perhaps more importantly, a bear.
Yep.
Although the Jeff does have those prisons, so he might have the prison for the bear.
Another set Speller Trap card. He had a brief surge of monsters in the beginning, but it's all pink cards now.
Pass back from Jones.
Nothing from Townsend. And off the top, Jones has Fire Formation Tanky. That could break this wide open if it can get past all of the back row, and it does not. Mystical Space Typhoon on the Chain destroys the continuous spell. Because it's a continuous spell, if it's not on the field when it resolves, nothing happens.
The way Townsend was setting cards, he was definitely telegraphing that MST. He was telegraphing a certain confidence that he had something he could flip if he needed to flip it and free up that 5th spell and trap zone.
He certainly got something now. It's Brotherhood of the Fire of his bear.
No.
And it swings into Fiendish Chain.
No prison.
Could we see another Mystical Space Typhoon?
Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it.
Oh!
That's because it was in his hand.
Oh!
Double chain.
Wow.
Seeing double and triple, this is...
How bad would Townsend feel right now if he had a third MST in his hand?
And couldn't play it. That would be brutal. But it doesn't look like he has it, or if he does, he's not going to use it until he can attack again. That does it for Townsend's turn, but he managed to get a lot of cards off of Jones's side of the field.
That was some momentum. And Crusader hit here would be huge.
Koa'ki Meiru Crusader, 1,900 attack points. It'd be a big win for Jeff if he could score a hit on Bear with it. He makes the attack. Townsend checks his spells and traps. But he's got nothing. The Bear goes down.
Urnite
and Jones
is coming
gets
back.
to retrieve his Urnite. Which, of course, he can then reveal to keep Crusader on the field, since they are matching type. That Dimensional Fissure I spied earlier comes down, and I think I also saw a Dark Hole.
Goodbye to hands.
Yep, that's huge because, remember, the hands have to go to the graveyard in order to get their effects. That is one of Jones's side deck cards.
That's going to cut off a future Moraltalk play as well. From the back row if he had to set it.
Yeah. If he had to set the Moraltalk, though, that's like he's used 2 Mystical Space Typhoons at this point.
Oh, that's actually irrelevant
Yeah.
because Jones does not play Mystical Space Typhoon. He has no effects that would destroy a back row Moraltalk anyways.
Oh, I was thinking of Townsend having to destroy his own Moraltalk on Jones's turn. But that would just be unfathomably brutal if you're Townsend to have to do that. He's got Coach Soldier Wolfbark, though.
And this could be an opportunity.
Yep, Wolfbark's going to go ahead and bring back the bear. And the neat thing about Xyz materials is that they will still go to the graveyard, even under Dimensional Fissure. So if he had a play to get back the Wolfbark for whatever reason, he could do that. But the important thing is that he could get something that's bigger than that Urnite. And he does. Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger King is met with solemn warning.
And again, we know it's going to go through.
And that, yes,
Yeah,
correct.
there we
That
go.
Tiger King should be banished. The other 2 are not. They were Xyz materials. But on the plus side, you can consider that as a 2,000-point burn spell to Jones. Dark Hole follows up. Koa'ki Meiru Crusader is destroyed and banished because of the Dimensional Fissure. But he's got to make sure that he's got something for that Urnite.
Do you think Townsend did that to avoid the damage, or Townsend did that to avoid the threat of an immediate... Well, no, he knew he was already going to see a Tiger King anyways.
Yeah, so doing the math, Urnite plus 2 Crusaders is, what, 5,800?
Yeah,
So that'd
just
be-
enough to
yeah,
take
that would
Townsend
be
out.
game if he didn't do it. Instead, Jones is going to go and bring out that Drago we were talking about from his side deck.
Jones probably thinking he's up against more than 2 Moraltalks in
Yes.
this match.
Jones is playing as if Townsend's trap cards are a lot better than they seem to be. And
Wow,
that
and Townsend
is
is taking the... Oh, well, maybe he's waiting to take out the... No, he has nothing
yeah,
to
he's
stop
got
attacks.
nothing to stop it.
He's taking this.
So it's even more important that he used that Dark Hole there because he knew he didn't have anything.
Dead back row for days.
At this point, I would say to myself, you know what? I bet 1 or more of those is another Moraltalk,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to have to deal with it.
One of those 3 cards.
He double doesn't have to deal with it, thanks to...
I would have loved
The
to have
Drago.
seen Jeff's face when those attacks went through.
Now, in the end phase, the tricky thing is, without the Diamond Core and without matching monsters, he's only able to keep 1. And he's discarded the core to keep his Urnite and allowed the Drago to be banished. Pot of Duality shows us a bear, a Traptrix Traphole Nightmare, and Max C from Townsend. It's far too late for the Traphole Nightmare to do a whole lot of anything. He's 1 Urnite attack away from losing.
Jeff likely will feel he can play through the Max C if he even needs to, which he could win without using it, so the bear is the only choice.
Yep. You gotta field something at this point.
Will it be another face-down bear?
That's the saddest kind of bear.
And at this point, Townsend could be putting Jeff on no more Iron Core, since Jeff did have to pitch it last turn. Yeah, face-down bear.
But he might not realize that Jones can just pick that Iron Core right back up instead of drawing.
Yeah. And he's going to. There it goes.
Yep, it's 2 monsters no matter what this time.
He knows it worked last turn. He knows it's going to work this turn.
So unless, he's got a sneaky second Torrential Tribute that we don't know about, which I find highly doubtful.
This looks over.
This could be it. Bear is gone.
And the handshake.
Urnite strikes for 2,000. And that's it. Blackhorn, there's the
There's a
Moraltalk.
Moraltalk and a dead
and another Sanctum.
That's
Absolutely brutal
that
draws.
Stripped
for-
down artifact suite with only 2 main deck Moraltalks comes back to bite him hard.
That is rough, but that is the risk you take. Great sportsmanship from both of our duelists.